Hello, friends. That was a strong opening. Here's another Pride video because God, I just cannot contain how gay I am. Fuck. I just want to kiss a hot gay so bad. I just want to. I'm so fucking. Okay. Sorry. Wow. Just really out of hand. But I gotta get this done. Gotta get these done. I need everyone to know just how gay I am, because that's all that there is to my personality. Of course, I make 2 videos on it, and that's all that's important about me. Never mind all the other stuff I've done and all the other things I talk about. It's just that I'm gay. That's all I care about ever, at all times. Today I want to talk about a lot of things. For one thing, I want to talk about polyamory and what that means exactly. My dating experience as a whole, and in that dating context, maybe talk about some sex positivity and my sexual experience, and maybe some proclivities. English? Ooh. Stick around to hear that. Yeah, how much of a hoe bag I am. So, ladies, gentlemen, and every lovely person in between, strap in, strap on, let's fucking go. For those unaware, hi, yes, my name is Sam. This is my face. Short for Samantha. I am a cisgender woman that identifies as a polyamorous lesbian who is attracted to non-binary people, trans men, and trans women. Essentially, I'm attracted to anything that isn't a cis man. Why is my brain like this? Honestly, couldn't tell you. But there isn't really a word for it, so I just call myself a lesbian because that is the phrase I have become most comfortable with and think applies to me the best. Essentially, all this is just fancy libtard propaganda speak for I'm a slut for anyone that isn't a cis man. However, what gender I'm attracted to has nothing to do with being polyamorous, because polyamory in itself has nothing to do with gender. To start things off, I just want to list the dictionary definition of polyamory. The dictionary definition of polyamory, where did I get this from? I don't remember. I'll have to check afterwards. Is the practice or condition of participating simultaneously in more than one serious romantic or sexual relationship with the knowledge and consent of all partners. The gist of it is that polyamorous people are interested in having more than one romantic partner, significant other, etc., or more than one sexual partner, or both at the same time, or at different times. It's just whatever you want. There are several different types of polyamorous relationships and different types of polyamory, but to compare them almost to monogamy and categorize them into 2 different types of relationships. There are 2 general categories. I mean, they're not really categories. It's just kind of like the way that some of these relationships work and some of them don't. And obviously there are going to be lots of different variations of these. These are just the really general ones that I know of. First of all, there's the closed polyamorous relationship. Why do I feel like I'm talking about geometry? This is a closed quadrilateral. This is an open quadrilateral. I don't like math and I'm not funny. I'm sorry. Closed polyamorous relationships consist of 3 or more people who are all committed to each other or have a shared partner, but they aren't seeking out additional partners. People in polyamorous relationships aren't just slutty people who want to have excuses to cheat. There are lots of poly relationships that are just as romantically and sexually committed to each other as monogamous ones. It's not, just 2 people together. It's 3 or more, or people who share partners. And another, obviously, type of relationship that, polyamorous relationships apply to are open relationships. In this type of relationship, there are 3 or more people, whether they're equally together or share a partner, and any and all parties may seek out other sexual or romantic partners. This is the kind of relationship that I'm in. I'm currently dating someone who has another partner who has another partner of his own, but all of us are just fine if we all got involved with somebody else. If I had to make a shitty MS Paint drawing of what this looks like, it would look like this. To a lot of people, this may seem like a lot, and it often is. A polyamorous relationship cannot work without consent from all parties and open communication between partners. Even if we aren't all seeing each other, if someone feels like they aren't cared for as much or aren't as involved, they need to speak up about it, because if they don't, it doesn't impact just one person, it impacts many. And it's just making sure that they're healthy means that everyone needs to talk to each other, and everyone needs to be aware of everyone else, and it can be a lot more work than a standard monogamous relationship. And my brain has always described it as like a high risk, high reward situation, which sounds really kind of gross because it's almost comparing it to video games, but that's just how my dungo brain works now. Being polyamorous isn't something you can just choose either. Being polyamorous is a romantic orientation similar to sexual orientation. It's not really something you can choose. So if you're in a relationship that's polyamorous that you don't want it to be polyamorous, then it really is something that you need to think about, like, yourself, and consider leaving it if you can't do it. Because if you try to stay in a relationship that's not monogamous and you're made for monogamy, that can cause a lot of problems because it just means that both parties aren't getting as much as they can out of it as they can. And sometimes that just means breaking up with whoever you're with, and that sucks, but it is an orientation. You can't just change it or work with it. You know, you're not going to be comfortable in it in any way. So you gotta figure it out. Gotta figure it out yourself, man. Even though I identify as polyamorous, I'm not nearly an expert on the subject, like in the slightest way at all. I've only recently accepted this as part of me, and this is just what I've got from recent observations, experience, and research. And although I have only recently accepted this, I've always had inclinations towards being non-monogamous, but I was raised very conservatively, even with my constant use of the internet. So I just never really considered it an option until I started dating my current partner. Now that the more informational part is over, let's talk about how much of a slut I am. To be frank, I don't know why I keep calling myself that. I generally don't like that word. If anyone called me that, unironically, I'd probably strangle them. But, you know, that's besides the point. On to brass tacks. We're talking about sex. On to brass titties. On to brass titties, yes. God, I'm so fucking funny and original. Laugh at my jokes. It's time to get physical. Just kidding. It's time to get personal. But in truth, I don't really think this kind of shit matters that much anyways, so I'm totally comfortable with sharing it. I don't think that your dating experience or your, like, sexual proclivities and stuff really change, like, whether or not somebody knows that matters, because it's like, you know, whatever, who fucking cares? People are into what they're into. People date who they want to date. The people who genuinely think that, like, just because someone's had a lot of sex before, or someone who's dated a lot of people aren't, like, worthy of dating, are nasty. I mean, I don't want to be involved in them in any way. So, sorry about that. Also, my roommate's definitely, like, listening to something in the background. But anyways, I think she's done showering. It's time to get personal. When I was in high school, as soon as I found out that I was gay, I started trying to date people. My first real girlfriend was the longest I've ever dated anyone, but it almost didn't really count. Let me explain. We were together for 1.5 years, but the final 6 months we were just super distant with each other, and I was honestly looking for new people to date at that point. I never, like, cheated on her or anything, but when we hit that 1 year mark, it kind of just fell apart. We were just dumb teenagers, and we kind of stopped communicating a lot, and I ended up breaking up with her because I felt like she wasn't putting enough effort into the relationship, but in truth, it was probably just bad on both of our parts. After that, I started dating my best friend's younger sister, which, oh boy, that was a mistake. Like, she was very sweet, and she was very cute, and I don't regret that part, like, actually dating her, but I regret that I dated someone who was the younger sister of my best friend, because the "I'm fucking your sister" jokes kept going for years, and honestly, I feel very bad about them. I made a lot of them, a lot of my friends made a lot of them. It was not good. Sorry about that, man. At this point, I was ending my junior year and going into my senior year of high school, and I was beginning to be more comfortable with myself. As my relationship with that girl started dissolving, I took an interest in another girl, a foreign exchange student. Once I broke up with my friend's sister, I immediately began dating this foreign exchange student. And that was probably my first, like, considerably stable and healthy relationship I think I've been in. I don't know, I felt like the realist to me for a long time, because, like, we loved each other, and even though we were, like, really different in terms of, like, personality and interests and stuff, the relationship was just really casual, because we knew that when she would move back to her country after the school year was over, we weren't going to keep dating after that. Like, both of us knew we're, like, long distance doesn't work for either of us, so we're not going to do that. So we weren't, like, committed to each other or shooting for being together forever, so the whole relationship was just super relaxed. during the time we were together, I was often talking to other girls. When I was in high school, I was really cocky and like super flirty and with like a lot of people. And I mean, I went to like a really conservative school, so like the amount of actual like queer people in the school were like, there was like 10 of them, and I think I dated like half of them. And if I was interested in someone, like if I really liked a girl, I got her. Like every single time I was in high school, if there was a girl that I was genuinely super interested in, if I pursued her, then I would end up dating her, except for 2 girls in my entire high school experience. And both of them I liked and didn't get, but that was because they were straight. However, both of them told me they had some type of feelings for me, and one of them sent me pictures of herself in thigh highs that I purchased for her, so read into that what you will. Also, PSA, don't go after people who say they're straight. It doesn't work 99% of the time. And it's really creepy. I was a dumbass teenager when I did this, and I wouldn't do it again. It's a bad decision to do it. That there was probably the biggest hint that I wasn't exactly made for monogamy. It wasn't like the girl I was dating wasn't adequate enough or anything. It's just not the way that my brain is wired. I always felt like I have so much love to give and love I want to get, but the concept of polyamory just didn't exist in my brain until like the last year. Being polyamorous is a romantic orientation. It's not something you choose, like how you can choose to be gay or straight, but it's something that isn't nearly as normalized as it should be. So I just didn't get it. Like I didn't think it was an option or something that people were. It was just kind of like, you know, these are the relationships that you're supposed to have is between 2 people, and no more than that. One day I'll make a video about forced gender roles in relationships. Maybe we'll talk about that. Even in gay relationships. We'll talk about that later. Not today. During my first year of college, I had a few relationships. I got them through a lot of dating apps, and almost all of them lasted 3 months or less. Like, all the relationships I entered in through those apps weren't working out. The relationships weren't that bad, but almost all of them ended up with like us breaking up at the end because we just weren't really made to be together. I don't know. But I was also doing something super unhealthy, where when I wasn't in a relationship, I was looking for a relationship like 24/7. Even when I had super recently broken up with someone, it was a very negative way to view myself. I almost felt like I wasn't like whole when I wasn't dating someone, and I was committing a lot of time and energy to using those apps, like, you know, Tinder, OkCupid, stuff like that, to find someone to date. One of my best friends was constantly roasting me for this, but I refused to listen to him and kept doing it for almost a whole year before realizing just how toxic it was. I still haven't fully gotten over that either. Even with my own partner now, I still almost feel like a shittier person when I'm not with them. It's something that I'm still trying to work on, but, you know, it's definitely something that's going to take a very long time to change. After a fling I had in the summer of 2018, I like how dramatic that is. The fling I had in summer 2018, it was basically a girl who didn't live in Massachusetts, came up a couple times over the month, and we kind of just hung out and had sex and stuff, but we broke up before school year started. Basically after that ended, I decided I need to chill the fuck out and stop focusing so much on looking for someone and start focusing on myself. For my fall semester of college, my sophomore year of college, I didn't use any dating apps and just kind of chilled out and like lived my life. I attended art school, where my major is a pretty small department. Because of this, our class became pretty close-knit and everyone knows each other. And in some of my classes, there was this person that I was immediately attracted to. After several weeks of this constant back and forth, like flirting and spending like time together in class, like I was fucking playing with their hair in class all the time and shit. They told me that they liked me. And we went on a date in December, and we've been dating ever since. I've been interested in a few other people since we started dating, but haven't like really had the time or opportunity to pursue those people. Also because I'm a pussy. Will I pursue people in the future? I don't know. Who knows? We shall see. But for now, I'm not going to be using dating apps anymore, because I'm happy with the person I'm with. However, that doesn't mean that I don't want to make out with a lot of people or be with more people. This just means the person I'm with is really great. So that's... Love you, babe. My roommate is listening to shit again, and I don't know if you can hear it in the mic, but if you can, I'm sorry. But if not, I don't want to stop again. With this current relationship that I'm in now being the most real and positive relationship that I've had since high school, I've been thinking about how I was in high school compared to how I am now. And this is where I'm going to sprinkle out, some sex formation. When it comes to heterosexuality, there are assumed defaults. Although this isn't the case 100% of the time, tradition has set up that the man in the relationship was always meant to be the dominant one, and the woman in the relationship is meant to be the submissive one. This doesn't mean that this is always the case, and it's super dated. It's a very sexist way to look at things. But when it comes to homosexual and queer relationships, there aren't any shitty gender roles to fall back on, and when there are, they're generally forced into this place where they don't really belong. Oftentimes people wrongly assume that in queer relationships, the one of them is the man and the other one is the woman, and the relationship and sexual proclivities will follow those roles. But that's hardly the case and is a really toxic way to look at things. Some homophobes will say that if a butch woman and a femme date, the butch is the top and the femme is the bottom by default. But that shit is so wrong. So stop thinking that before I fucking smack you. Since I've always been sort of tomboyish and I grew up in an absolute shit conservative filled place, I often assume I was the butch or the boy in these relationships. When I was in high school, I basically only dated femmes, and I was very dominant in every sense of the word. I was almost always the person to ask the other person out. I was the one who made the first move. I was the one who kissed them first. And when we had sex, I was always the top. Always. I lost my virginity when I was 15, and until partway through my freshman year of college, I was only ever a top, every single time. When I was in high school, I was so uncomfortable with my body that I wouldn't let myself receive any form of sexual gratification or contact. Basically, I was what is called a touch me not top, which means that I never got off or anything. I was always the one who was the dominant one. But for some fucking reason, it was when I hit college, my brain did a full 360. That's not a 360. If I did a 360, I'd end up in the same place. I did a 180. God, I'm so fucking dumb. Even though my current partner and I had been super flirty with each other, it was my head refused to accept that they liked me, and I wouldn't ask them out. I was lucky that they asked me out first, because in all honesty, it would have taken me a long time to pluck up the courage to actually tell them about my feelings. This also transferred into the way that I was in terms of sex. For a while, I became super submissive and didn't feel comfortable accepting my dominance again. But with my current partner, I felt safe enough to explore both sides of me, and now I comfortably identify as a switch. Reverse, or whatever the fuck you people call it these days. I'm not hip with the youth, I'm sorry. If you're LGBTQ+, I mean, fuck, if you're straight, just don't be scared to experiment with things. As long as it's done safely and with consent, you might find something you really like. And if you date someone who refuses to do things that you like and will only ever do things that they want to try, get the fuck out of there, because that shit is selfish and nasty. I still remember one of my best friends telling me her boyfriend didn't want to ever go down on her, and I was like, bitch, why? That's just great. What the fuck? I mean, she broke up with him. Good. She should have. He was fucking nasty. And since the video isn't, long enough, I'm gonna do some things that are not very safe for work. No, I'm not gonna take my titties out on camera, Chris. Stop it. There was this little image thing that was floating around that I cannot find anymore. But essentially, I started playing music again. Please fucking kill me. There was this little image floating around that I can't find anymore, but essentially it was a not safe for work ass type thing. I figured I'd answer just a few of them, if not all of them, because man, I am just always horny on main and ready to talk about fucking. It's really funny watching my mic peak because of how aggressively I say some things. I'm sorry, this sounds like shit. The first question was, when did you lose your virginity? And I was 15. And I was awful. I had sex with my girlfriend at the time, and I was pretty bad at it. Since then, I've had a lot of practice, and I'm not even that good at it now. I'm kidding. I've certainly improved, but when it comes to sex, you can be okay at general things, but every new person you fuck has different needs and desires, so getting a new partner or having sex with someone for the first time is kind of like relearning how to do it, and that can take time, but damn. It's fucking rewarding. Rough sex or soft sex. Both have their place, and I enjoy both. But rough sex is more fun, if that makes sense. Passionate sex is just more intimate. Weirdest place you've ever had sex. It was less a weird place, more of a weird time. I had sex in my room when my little brother's birthday party was going on downstairs. I think he was turning 6 or 7. My mom almost walked in on us. Boy, I hope she never sees any of these videos. Favorite sex position? Missionary and doggy are nice. Just gotta learn to spice them up, make them interesting. They both have their pros and cons. With missionary, you can have that face-to-face contact, which is really nice. But with doggy, you get them slaps. So it depends on the mood. You know what I mean by the slaps, you know? The slaps. Do you like being dominant or submissive? I started as a dom and realized that being a sub wasn't so bad, so now I do both. God, I already said this. It's almost like I talk about sex too much. Have you ever had any one-night stands? Yes, a few. Most of them suck, though. Honestly, my worst sexual experience ever was a one-night stand. Why am I losing my voice? Sex on the bed, couch, or floor? Bed, absolutely, any fucking day. I don't get this fantasy of like having sex on the floor. Having comfortable space is so nice. I'm baby. My knees fucking hurt on the ground. Give me a fucking mattress any day. How often do you have sex? It depends on who I'm with. Right now, about once every week or so. If I'm not dating anyone, I don't really have sex as much just because I don't really like one night stands. I'm not averse to them or anything. I am nervous. The cat is still meowing at my door right now. Is there anyone you'd want to have sex with right now? Lots of people. There was this really cute, fuck, I keep shaking the camera. There was this really cute person in one of my classes who was like slightly taller than me, and they're very attractive. Sophie Turner in that suit, Zarya from Overwatch, God, fuck me sideways. Do you prefer giving or receiving oral sex? Both are great times. All of it is phenomenal, dude. Give me all of it. Most embarrassing thing that's ever happened while you were having sex. My hips were really fucked up, and one time, like the first time I ever like actually orgasmed, my hips seized. They essentially locked up. It was like one of the most painful things I've ever experienced. And I just like couldn't move for like 2 minutes. Just like, my hips are just fucked. They just pop and seize all the time, and it's a bad time. I swear I'm not 80 years old. My hips are just fucking broke. Hips machine broke. A song you listen to during rough or kinky sex, Closer by 9 Inch Nails. Don't Fucking At Me. I love that song, unironically. A song you listen to during soft or passionate sex. Talk by Hosier. Also a great song. Also, Don't At Me. Again, please, God, please don't. My music taste is garbage, I know, but God, they're good songs. Do you prefer sex in the bath or the shower? I've never done either. But if I had to pick one, probably the bath. Showers require standing, and bitch, I am too lazy for that shit. If you could have sex with anyone right now, who would it be? Alexandra Zarinova. Did I say that already? Did I mention her already? Maybe I should mention the fact that this is my mouse pad. It's literally the thing of Zarya. Oh, it's so old. I need to get a bigger, better mouse pad with Zarya on it, because she deserves it. This is what Zarya deserves. Would you use sex toys? Absolutely, and I absolutely do. They're lovely, and they make things very fun. Just kind of spice things up a lot. I have some really nice ones. Maybe one day I'll make a list of the ones I have and give a little recommendation bit. Because finding a good sex toy is very important. Because if you buy cheap shit, usually it ends up breaking, or it's nasty, or it's just not great all around. So just nice sex toys. Something that will never fail to get you horny. A lot of things make me horny. Any sort of dirty talk or making out is perfect, but generally if I'm attracted to you, you could just like walk up to me at any time and be like, hey, let's fuck, and I'd be like, yeah, absolutely, yeah, let's go, we got it. Or alternatively, it could be any hour of any day, and I would already be horny on main. I follow like 40 not safe work artists on Twitter. Of course, I'm always horny. Like, what kind of fucking question is that? Early morning sex or late night sex? Late night sex, absolutely. I lied in my last question. If you wake me up before 10 a.m., I will be dead. To be honest, though, if someone like tried to get me up by making out with me, I've never done that before. It might work. Babe, take notes. This might work. Trying to get me up before fucking noon. Maybe that'll work. Favorite body part of the opposite sex? None. Cis boys are nasty. Favorite body part of the same sex? When people ask me to choose between ass or titties, I always choose ass. But if I had to prefer anything, it'd probably be like the upper chest or the neck. They're just perfect for like biting and kissing and stuff. Oh, dude, lips. Oh my god, and thighs. Oh my god, I just fucking love girls so much. I'm so gay. Have you ever had a threesome? Yeah. Would you fuck a friend? Yeah. Do you like dirty talk? Yeah, yes, we get it. I'm a slut. Yes, we get it. Do you watch porn? Yeah, duh. Like, who fucking doesn't? Whoever doesn't watch porn is either asexual and doesn't want to watch porn, which is like, you know, you're valid. Or amassing a lot of horny energy that's gonna get out of you somehow, fam. Might as well just look at some titties or some dick and just stop being so goddamn tense all the time. Are you horny right now? Yeah, of course I am. Fucking what kind of question is that? My partner's been out of town for like several days and I'm on my period. My horniness is compounded at this point. It's like I'm a star that's gonna explode soon. It's bad and turn into a fucking black hole. Oh my god. If you were the other sex for a day, what things would you do? Masturbate and fuck people. That's it. That's all I would do. As many humans as I possibly could, to be honest. I want to know how it feels to be able to feel what you're fucking, because God knows I do it without being able to feel it, and it's like walking through a wet, dark cave without a flashlight. God, I'm not funny. Name a food that you would like to use during sex. Does ice count? I've never done it before. I've never done anything with temperature play, and I think that could be fun, but it seems like using almost anything else would absolutely make a mess. There was a question on here that asked, do you like it when your sexual partner moans? And it's like, what kind of fucking question is that? Like, what kind of basic bitch doesn't like when their partner expresses that what you're doing is pleasurable to them? Like, the fuck? That's so fucking weird. How would you feel about taking someone's virginity? I've done it a few times, like 3 times now, and I don't like it. I mean, I'm not going to say no to someone if they haven't ever had sex before, but I hate the unnecessary pressure that people put on losing your virginity. I'm a nervous person. I don't want to fuck that shit up. Because God knows I've done it before and I'll probably do it again. Have you ever experimented with the opposite sex? Oh boy. Sonny Jim. Do I have news for you? You know, I think that's enough. I'm willing to bet this video is going to be more than like 30 minutes long. And I find it funny that the longest one is the one that I talk about sex for like more than half of it. God, I'm just so horny on main right now. It's bad. It's just a bad time in Sam's brain right now. I might wrap up Pride Month with one more video talking about video games and gays, because God knows the queer gamers really need some help, because these nasty gamer boys are they're just a lot to deal with. Feel free to litter my comments with answers to some of my questions. Maybe I'll not be lazy and hit Control-C and Control-V and put all of the comments, all the questions in the comments. That's how English works. I'm not gonna do another take. I'm fucking tired of recording. Thanks for watching, everyone. Love you all. Make sure to subscribe, turn on notifications, you know, all that fun stuff. And hey, my name is StarlightSam. Until next time. I feel bad for my roommates having to listen to me talk angrily about sex for literally like 30 minutes. But it's fine. I also hate myself because I'm so bad at recording things. I always manage to fuck it up. Thanks. Good night, everyone.